Hey everyone, this is Bo from the Mario server. I'm here to do a video on the differences between MapleStory 2 and Mabinogi. Oh boy, this is going to be a very difficult topic because I know some of you guys, a lot of Mabinogi fans probably feel betrayed that I've started to play MS2 a lot. But I do want to share you guys the differences and the similarities between the two games because I know it is probably a question in their mind, wondering why is Bobo playing this game so much. So I do want to share you guys the differences. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be a really long video. I'm going to do a lot of talking, so bear with me, alright? Let's first start off with the topic of the graphics. Now, the graphics in Mabinogi obviously are 3D, all around 3D, beautiful anime looking graphics. So that is one of the difference between MapleStory 2 and Mabinogi, because if you guys look at MapleStory 2, the graphics in MapleStory 2 are quite different. MS2 is like a very blocky looking game, kind of like Minecraft in a way. You can technically see all around your character, so it is considered 3D. However, you can only have one type of view, which is literally like an aerial view. Sometimes in certain areas you only see a 2D view of your character, 2D flat side scrolling kind of deal. So that is the main difference between the two games. This one's more chibi looking in a way, more cute-ish, less anime-ish, blah, that's a word. But that is the difference in terms of graphics, and it can be difficult for some people to get used to. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about is the storyline. So the game, both games actually have a storyline to it. I already completed the storyline for both games, so I can't really show you kind of like clips and whatnot of each game. But if I had to kind of summarize it, basically MS2 has a pretty, I consider it a short storyline. You can technically clear the storyline within a few days, no problem, AZ. But however, for Mabinogi, Mabinogi has quite a lot of storyline, and to be fair, just to be fair, Mabinogi has been around for quite a while, so it is expected. Kind of like when Mabi first came out the first time, there wasn't much of a storyline. So maybe MS2 will have more storylines in the future as they uncap their level cap, I guess. But here you can see that Mabi has like sagas, lots of storylines to do. So there is plenty of storyline to do in Mabi. So that is one of the differences. They also host, both games also host events to keep the game active, like holiday events and whatnot. So it's kind of similar in terms of that kind of aspect. The next thing I want to bring up is customization. You can see that Mabinogi has lots and lots of ways to customize your character. So many different outfits and colors. I liked outfits and colors, and your character in this game can literally look different from any other character. It's not like one of those MMOs where you walk in and everyone kind of like looks the same in a way. So that's the neat thing about Mabinogi, is that there's so many different outfits to choose from. There's different colors to choose from, dye palettes and whatnot. It's very limitless, unlimiting. I mean, not limiting. What? You know what I mean, guys. But for MS2, I feel like MS2 kind of broke the ceiling on Mabi for this one. In MS2, they have what's considered UGC, user-generated content, and basically MS2 allows you to create your own design in terms of weapon skin. So there's like, they give you the weapon skin. If you're a knight or something, you can design your own shield. You can design your own sword design. Obviously, it's going to be a very difficult process. It's not like, you just color on a model or something. That would be nice. It would be easier for some people to be able to like color straight on top of a model. But no, you have to actually kind of like open like some template right here and then figure out how to design over it just to kind of get the the image you want. It's a little bit of a difficult process. A lot of artists have already, you know, worked really hard doing this stuff, and they're really good at it. I want to say that some people have designed some amazing user-generated content. You can see if I go to the Merit Market, there is a shop for yourself in terms of user-generated content, and a design shop for other players to sell their designs. So you can see here people have designed their own stuff. See if you can see, some of them are kind of ugly, I'm sorry. Ugly stuff. So there's lots and lots of rando things. Just rando things everywhere. I don't even know if I should click on some of these. I'm scared. Let's just look at the face stuff. Lots of stuff. I don't know. It's like you can design your own face technically. Hat. Yeah. I guess it works. I mean, what? I don't know. People can just go crazy with some of these things. It's a little bit scary sometimes. Of course, it is one of those things where you have to keep it within code. You know, it's got to be appropriate and whatnot. They do have people monitoring this stuff, and you cannot copyright certain stuff. It's just, what the heck is that? Okay, I don't know. Some outfits are nice, some of them are just goofy. So, you know, there's so many different people in this game, so it's like, it's expected to see some interesting designs. Some of them are actually really good. Like, I'm just blown away at the realism of it. So that is the difference between the two games in terms of customization. What else? Next, I want to talk about housing. We're already here. Housing! Alright, so for housing, MS2 has an interesting housing thing. It's got a little, I guess you can say, only a one view to design your house. So if I click on start furnishing, it's gonna be really hard. You can see my character already in a hard hat designing my stuff. So if I get to, like, let's say at this point right here, I can barely see what's behind these blocks, so it's kind of annoying to furnish stuff in MS2. It's like, oh, I can't see what's behind this block. The great thing though about the housing in MS2 is the fact that they've made most of everything free. Like the expansion, the size of this housing plot, it was supposed to cost you guys some misos, but fortunately, why am I saying unfortunate? Fortunately, they've made everything free. You can expand to the max size here. Like literally, it's already max. I can't expand it any further. 25 by 25 and 15 height for free, literally. And they have all these different furnishing items already for you, and most of these are free. Some of these do cost some sort of merits, which is like a couple cents here and there, if you want to add the more fancier or interactive related furniture. But that is really the only difference. It's great considering the fact that I didn't expect them to actually make this stuff free. I actually thought that it was going to cost some a lot of misos, but they didn't do it that way. So it's nice, it's refreshing to see that developers do it this way, because they want you guys to not feel limited on your creativity. So it's great. It's definitely great. But unfortunately for the assistants, all of them cost merits. The assistants are all somewhat equivalent to partners in Mabinogi in a way. You can have like these NPCs in your house, and they can craft stuff for you, and you know, be your BFF and whatever. But unfortunately, they all cost misos. Oh, sorry, merits. I wish they cost misos. They all cost merits, and they do have a monthly salary of merits you have to pay. So yeah, that's the downside to it. But you know, it's not a big deal. Everything else here is free. Mabinogi, however, is a little bit different. Mabinogi housing it's huge too. Mabinogi housing, you can go up to this max size, huge homestead. But the the downside is, in order to get to this huge homestead, it's not literally free just like in MS2. You do have to work your way up. You do have to level up your homestead to expand it, and if you want to expand it even further to the max, you have to actually pay real money. So it's a little bit, but the great thing is that it's super easy to design in your housing area in this game. So it's like you can see the blocks and stuff. You can easily swivel your items and move things around. It's not too hard. You can see everything. It's not like MS2 where I can't see where the heck I'm placing my blocks sometimes. So that's the great thing about housing in here. Unfortunately though, you do have to spend some misos just to get into this specific housing area. They did update the housing so you can actually go inside your house, but I'm just like, there's not really much you can do with it. It's kind of like the actual housing channel. If you guys remember the housing stuff in the housing channel, it's garbage. that's all I can say. It's not even worth unlocking for now until they do some stuff in the future to make it better. But other than that, this is really just mostly your housing area for Mabinogi. Very beautiful decorative things you can do with your housing, but unfortunately they do not give you too many options. Most of the housing items that you can get are from events or from, I don't know, something else. It's like it's not something you can just easily obtain. The ones that you can easily obtain look kind of like ugly. So the ones that they have in default wise here, like that's all you get. There's no chairs, there's no tables, there's nothing like that. So you're kind of limited on how you want to design your stuff. And some of these actually cost some pawns, which is real money to put down. So it's like, But that is the two differences between the housing for both games. Now the next thing is gachapons. Oh boy, let's kind of go over this. I know some of you guys do wonder, Bobo, which gachapon do you like the most? They both have their good points and bad points. So let's take a look. So, Mabinogi gachapons. So Mabinogi gachapons, there's so many different kinds of Mabinogi gachapons out there. There's ones that summon, monsters. There's ones that, you just kind of like do some sort of mini game and roll like roll this board or something. I forget what's it called, but there's like this one gachapon where you just kind of like get a random 1 out of 9 thing. It's really not too common, but the most common gachapon is just literally opening 45 stacks of gachapons and hoping you get something better than a pot or something. But a lot of these stuff is pretty nice, very animated. Like, this game has quite like some nice model animations. So it's definitely a nice gachapon thing. Transformations, emotes, and whatnot. And of course, all the junk that nobody wants. And of course, gachapons in Mabinogi is technically cheaper. It's $1.50 for one, $57.50 for 45 gachapons. Now if you guys look over to MapleStory 2 gachapons cost $3 each, and that's it. It doesn't get cheaper if you buy more. I don't know if that's going to change in the future. But they do have different outfits, different items that you guys can get. But the great thing is that once you buy a gachapon, you're guaranteed a piece of an outfit. You're not going to get any junk like training potions or some sort of item you don't need or can't wear. Technically, they focus on your character that opens the crate. So if your character is a male, it's going to give you male items. If your character is a female, it's going to give you female. So you're not going to have to worry about getting something that you can't wear or use. You would be able to get it. Now, it only depends on if you actually like the item. So if you actually do not like the item that you get, you can actually dismantle the item and get coins. So that's the difference between this game and Mabi. So if you guys look on MS2, they have this thing called a style coin shop. So if you guys get an item in your quote-unquote gachapon or style crate and you don't like the item, and you're like, I don't need this, you can actually dismantle the item and get coins. If it's a common item, you only get 1 coin. If it's a somewhat rare item that's blue, you get 3 coins. And then you can use these coins to redeem like more exclusive rewards in the style coin shop that only technically appears here in the style coin shop. So they have outfits, they have badges, they have like weapon skins, interesting stuff, nice stuff actually. And they do have the specific crate items, the rarity items, the blue items that you can get now. This is a new thing that they just added to the, I guess the style crate, is you can get straight up blue items from here. Or you can kind of go to the merit market under premium and go to crate, and you can actually buy these single items that are common in the style crate. So you technically can get whatever outfit you want in the style crate. You don't have to gamble too much on hoping that you're going to get the item or rely too much on buying it from another player. You can guarantee the items. The difference between this and Mabinogi, unfortunately, is the fact that if you do get a, you know, outfit stuff, you can't resell it. You can't sell it to a friend. You can't gift it to a friend. It's only going to be for you. For Mabby, at least you can make the big bucks, right? Like selling the items to another player. Unfortunately, MS2 is like, no, you spend money, it's only for you. They're not going to try to increase, you know, the possibility of pay to win. Somebody's playing music in my house randomly. And speaking of music, we do have the most popular thing in in Mabby and MS2 is they do have the ability to play music, and it's great. Look at this guy, he's got an ocarina. Hi. Hi. So I can also play music too, and they have music scrolls and whatnot, so you can, if you double click it, it's just like Mabinogi with the MML. You can just literally play any MML that you want, and it's gonna be just like Mabby. So if you guys remember Mabby has, there it is. Oh my god, my bag's so big. Right here, my instruments as well. I can play instruments with some scrolls. So it's the same thing in a way. It's kind of nice, the fact that both games have the ability to play your own generated music. So it's nice. Alright, next thing I want to mention, it's kind of related to the whole gachapon thing, is inventory. Kind of like difference between the inventory and items in general. So Mabinogi has lots and lots of inventory. Lots and lots of inventory. Can I say lots and lots of inventory? It's also kind of feeds the hoarders by giving you guys dressing rooms to kind of save all of your outfits. Every single one of your outfits. So if you ever feel like you need to swap between an outfit, you can. And it's great. However, unfortunately, MS2 is not like that. MS2 does not feed your hoarding needs. In fact, it kind of sort of discourages it. If you want more space for your outfits, you know, and whatnot, you actually have to spend money. So you can expand your tab, but it's going to cost you real merits, which some people don't want. There is probably going to be some events or stuff in the future that will let you expand your bag space, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be significant. So you're going to have to eventually toss that outfit that you know, don't want or can't, you know, keep. Bank space also is very limited. You can see that in the bank, it's not much space you can keep stuff. And this is shared actually between accounts. The bank is shared between other characters in your account. So, unless you want more bank space, you're going to have to create more characters. Fortunately, you do get 6 free characters slots, I believe. 6? 8? No, 6. I think it's 6. So that's kind of nice that you can actually transfer some items over to another character if you want more space. But that's pretty much probably the only way to kind of save some space without having to spend merits. And that is the music. Oh, sorry, the inventory part of the game. Combat in this game is a little bit different. Combat in this game is interesting. Oh, this is the wrong one. That's dungeons. Combat in MS2, I guess in terms of skills and, you know, fighting in this game, is literally kind of like your typical MMO skill tree path. You kind of have to focus on what you want to do, whether you want to buff, whether you want to do damage, whether you want to do support. Every class has its own different types of skills, and you can't unfortunately max them all out. Eventually you're going to hit a cap in terms of your skill points, and you won't be able to progress further until they uncap the level cap, which is probably not going to be anytime soon. For Mabinogi, however, Mabinogi still remains its unique aspect of being able to rank up everything and anything that you want without limitations. You can do the rebirth system and get more AP and rank up everything you want. You don't have to worry about going down the wrong path, technically. So that's still the unique thing about Mabinogi, is their rebirth system and the ability to just do anything. No limits here, guys, in terms of combat. Combat, of course, is different. We do move differently in Mabi. There's the WASD movement if you would like to move that way, or point and click. Most people originally start with the point and click, control click, like way of combating, and then just kind of hockey your skills and use them. So that is that game. You just use your skills anywhere you want. And MS2 is... there's not much skills. You don't really have much choices here, like, to work around with flashy skills and whatnot. I feel, to be honest, Priest has the most amount of skills to work with. It's like lots of skills to work with. But most of the other classes probably don't have too much skills. But a lot of supportive skills, and you don't see too much of that, unfortunately, in Mabi. In Mabi, I feel like everyone's just kind of like rah rah rah, like kill kill kill, and the healers don't even exist in Mabi. The healers are kind of like the clouds, basically. So in a way, the great thing about this game is that it does heavily focus on class, and if, you know, depending on what class you are, may help or break the runs that you do. So next topic is the runs, the dungeon runs, the raids, the world bosses. Dungeons in MS2 is actually pretty nice. They do have a dungeon directory, a list of different dungeons, recommended dungeons based off of your level, hard mode dungeons, and soon chaos raids that's going to come in November. So lots and lots of different things to do. Easy way to, you know, they have a queue system where you can queue up with random people, and, you know, just kind of do your own thing for a bit until you finally get in to the run. So it's very convenient for those who don't have, like, you know, a party or like friends or a guild even. So it's really helpful for those people who do those who need to find people to do runs with. There's also a party finder for people who just want to advertise, like, I don't know, fishing parties or, you know, specific hard mode, you know, needs. Like, I need a healer specifically, instead of queuing up and then, you know, they get a non-healer and they cry a little. So that is, you know, a nice little system they have set up here for MS2. Now for Mabinogi does not have that. Unfortunately, Mabinogi does not have a queue up system. It only has what's called a party board, which is very similar to the party finder. You can just kind of like make a party and then hope that somebody joins, wait and join. They do have even like the ones for the squad bulletin to just kind of like queue up and hopefully you find somebody. But you can see here that there's barely anybody, any parties, any posts anywhere in regards to finding a party, and that's because, in my opinion, from what I've seen, is it's usually the same group of people that quietly like get together and don't really advertise for more people. So that's the downside about Mabinogi, is that it's really difficult to find people to do runs with. There's no queue up system. It would be nice if Maddie had some sort of queue up system for shadow missions or raids even, but raids don't really need parties. It would be nice, but it's really, yeah, it's not relevant. Now, speaking of world raids, world bosses and raids, let's go. Now, the most recent world bosses and raids and stuff like that is in the Avalon area for Mabinogi. So there's gonna be like dragons and some huge tree-looking people. There's Gregashi raids, and these are the kinds, well, not Gregashi specifically, but at least for this raid here, for the dragon, is that you can have a bunch of people come out into the field and go pew 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 on the dragon and cross your fingers, hope you get some good loot, right? Get some good loot. Now, the difference between the world bosses here and MS2 is in Mabby, the world bosses don't spawn too often, in my opinion. It's like at a certain time, and you gotta be there. It really favors a certain specific time zone, unfortunately. So for those who can't play the game at a certain time zone when the bosses spawn, they're kind of out of the game, you know, in a way. And you also have to be reliant on heavy parties, so there's always going to be like one, maybe two group of heavy party runners, and after once they're gone, and people have a hard time killing the bosses because there's not enough people fighting the bosses. So that's the difference, really. But it is, in terms of lag, it is not so bad. I want to say I've seen worse. But usually just imagine a boss spawning, everyone has a role that they could choose, a healer role, quote-unquote support role, or garrison role to do damage and whatnot. So the roles are kind of like meh, you know, it's like I don't really pay attention to it, but really I guess it does kind of put you in a ranking where you can get better rewards, which is kind of nice. But at the same time, it's kind of annoying because, you know, people tend to kill too fast to the point that you can't get a lot of points. In MS2, it is not that. MS2 is a messy mess of kills. MS2, if you guys look here, I will show you guys the map of the world bosses. So, in the map, you can see that there are... it's huge. This world is pretty big, just like Mabinogi's map is kind of pretty darn big. There's two areas actually, Victoria Island and Karkar Island, which is kind of new. But on these island maps you can see there are some red icons here, like these little boss icons right here. And these boss icons are world bosses that spawn. They all spawn at a certain time, relatively frequent, and the reason why is because you do get trophies off of them, so you want to kill them several times. So the great thing about the world bosses is that not only do they spawn frequent, but they're also on all different channels, just like Mabinogi. There's a different, you know, it's not the same boss on each channel. It's like every channel has its own boss, and there's 60 channels in this game, so MapleStory 2 has quite a lot of channels. Can't click on that right now, but there's plenty of chances to get the raid boss if you miss it, and if you do miss it, it's not a big deal because they're probably gonna respawn again in the next hour or two or something like that. So it's not too bad in terms of spawns. There's always going to be a boss. There's always, no matter what, I've always seen at least one world boss somewhere actively going on, which means there's always going to be players trying to kill it for the trophies. So it's easy to kind of kill off the world bosses because there's going to be people killing them. Now if you get to a world boss and you're like, well, there's nobody here, Bobo, you liar. And the reason why is because people kind of go down the list. So let's say they start off with channel 1 and then go down the list and kill. Eventually, by the time they get to your channel, you see a massive wave of people coming in, you know, a bunch of vultures coming in to kill the world boss. It's just the same way, just like, you know, Mabinogi. Mabinogi is reliant on huge groups of players just to kill off the spawns. I mean, you can get some really OP players, but it'll take a while. Same thing like in MS2, you can technically probably do it with some few OP players, but it will take a while. These bosses have millions and millions of HP. So that's a great thing, is that there's so many choices, so many different options, bosses to go from, not just, you know, a handful. Mabby doesn't have much, but if it did have a lot, I think it'd be a little bit overwhelming in my opinion. Alright. And lastly, my most favorite thing about this game is the trophies. Now, I love the trophies in MS2. Trophies in MS2 is literally stuff that you just get for acknowledgement of random things. Just so many different things. Some of them give rewards, some of them give dies, some of them give items and unlock certain stuff. So it's really nice. It just gives you something to do if you're bored. You know, it's like, it also contributes to I guess the guild. So it's not bad. Speaking of the guild differences the guild in MS2 and Mabby. Well, guilds very limited in terms of slots. I know Mabby, you can have quite a lot of members once you get to a certain point of guild points and money. You can actually unlock more slots. Here is actually really hard to unlock more slots because it's reliant on your guild level, and in order to level up your guild level, you have to actually earn it through attendance. It says minigame participation, which we really haven't really done, or I don't even know if it exists yet, if it counts yet. There's also guild quest, which requires at least 3 guild members minimum to do, so that can be difficult if there's not people online. But literally just checking in, clicking the check-in button will increase this by a bit, so everyone's gotta like contribute, or donating guild money to the funds to help upgrade your I guess your house, your guild house, and some other bonuses. So you can actually upgrade your guild house and make it bigger and nicer. It's gonna cost us like a ridiculous amount of 50 mil misos just to upgrade. But you can see as the rank gets higher and higher, oh my god, so much more benefits gets unlocked in terms of, like, we can get a pretty big house here. It's pretty nice. There's also guild buffs, but unfortunately these guild buffs are quite expensive, and they do last for X amount of days. But they're quite expensive. There's also personal buffs that you can buy yourself. There is a guild merchant. You can also, like I said, enter the house of the guild, so it's almost like the hall in Mabby, but a little bit better. You can do arcade games, which is literally the mini MK's mini games. And there is supposedly a gifting option, like quote-unquote guild storage, but not really. I think you can only put guild items in here, not actual items, so unfortunately that's not even a thing. I don't even bother with that. Applications are kind of nice to, you know, see in your list, to accept members. Easy to manage things. You can manage your guild easily here and see like their contributions towards the guild, how much they've contributed. You can even sort it by you know, their name, their level, their job, their contribution, total contribution, trophy amount, or gear score. So that's always nice to see. And you can also manage the notice, any messages you want for guilds to see when they pop into the game. And you can mention the guild focus. This is for people who try to apply for your guild, and they can see like what is this guild focused on, and the times and the age and whatnot. I like the other category. Ages 30 to 20s to other. Am I considered other? No, I'm not. Don't put me in others. Okay. There's you can change your guild emblem, so that's kind of nice too. And you can also send like a mass email to the guild. That's usually for the higher ups, but the co-leads and leaders and whatnot. But it's nice. So Guilds in MS2 definitely has lots of features, as well as the trophies. So many different trophies, like ridiculously amount of different trophies. Mabby, however, I know some of you guys are like, yeah, I know Mabby doesn't have anything in terms of guilds. Guilds is like, there's not much at all. So guild stuff is like, you can't even see, like, sorry, the screen's not even showing up here, but there's not much on the guild menu. There's not much for guild benefits, just really being able to group a bunch of people with the same name above your head. There is the benefits of putting down a guild stone and clicking on the stone and allowing it to warp to your guild hall straight in Tara. But there is no guild storage. There isn't a what do you call it? There isn't a way to sort by class or whatever focus. There is no class technically in Mabby, so it doesn't matter. But there isn't much. There's not too much guild functions in Mabinogi. I kind of hope that they had more guild functions. There's no guild house and whatnot, so guilds is meh in Mabby. Achievement-wise, though, you've got what's called journals. Journals is a little bit... I don't know if people even care about journals, but journals is like your achievements, and you can get quite a lot of them. There's different kinds. Some of them you can probably take forever to get, or never to get. And some of them are just... yeah, like, Some of them are easy to get. I want to say a lot of these achievements can be difficult to get or time-consuming in comparison to the trophies you see on MS2. But not too many people really care too much about the journal points. It's not something people do too much. But yeah, that is that. And that is basically all the main real differences I can say about the two games, the differences and similarities and whatnot. Hopefully this video is very informative for you guys. It's not a video to kind of like determine which game is better, but it's just to show you guys that there are some similarities to the two games, and of course some differences in their own positive and negative ways. So alright, thanks you guys for watching my video, and like always guys, please stay awesome. Haha.